Alrighty. We good? Are you recording? So I am making this video because I was making a reaction video to the rest of the basic training that I was going to record a reaction video for. And this is the second time that the screen recording has messed up on this, this reaction video and one that I filmed before. So until I fix that issue, I'm just going to go ahead and make this video so I have something to post. And I'm going to talk about what the rest of basic training consists of after that reception video that I made. Maybe like right now it's like 9 days ago. So this will just have to suffice. I was going to have the video on screen for you guys. You guys could like kind of follow along, and I was doing like a ton of commentary, but whenever I was editing it, it looked like literally like 70% of the video corrupted, and it was just on one freeze frame. So let's see what else. So after you get through reception, which is what I was talking about, you go through three phases, which is red, white, and blue phase. And now I believe red phase, which is the first 3 weeks of the basic training, it's called yellow phase now. I don't know why they changed that, but those first 3 weeks, I believe you're going through and getting all of your uniforms. I think you're going to some info ranges, so you're working on your rifle marksmanship. Um, you're working on, I think it's some land navigation, a little bit of it. I feel like you do more of that in white phase, which is the middle, like 2.5 weeks. And then you do a little bit of that as well, land navigation, in blue phase, which is the last 2 weeks of basic training. It's a full 10-week cycle. But red phase, I believe it's just a bunch of like prepping for your first army combat fitness test, which is the physical training test you have to pass every year in order to promote to the next rank that you're going for. In order to stay in the army in general, you have to pass this physical training test. It consists of, I think there's like a sled drag. I forgot like the actual distance that you have to drag that. There's a kettlebell carry. You can look up this. I'm gonna try and do a reaction whenever I have that figured out, the screen recording stuff. I'm gonna do a reaction video to Army Combat Fitness Test. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But going back to what I was talking about, the first like 2 weeks of basic training, red phase, you're going through that. You're I think going through a couple like confidence courses, which are like obstacle courses, climbing up on ropes, climbing across ropes, um, like a rope that'll be above a big suspended area. That's probably like if you let go of the rope, it's probably like a 20-foot drop, but there's a net below it to carry you and to catch you. Um, Confidence courses, ranges, a little bit of land navigation courses. So you learn how to use a map, learn how to use a compass, how to shoot an azimuth, how to plot your location on a map. And because whenever you get lost out in the woods and you don't have reception, you're not going to be able to use your phone to just navigate around. But that's probably the majority of the first couple weeks. And then on top of that, it's just a bunch of like getting bossed around, getting told to do this, that, and the other in a very, very fast manner and do it correctly by the drill sergeants. You're going to be tired a lot because every single night that you're probably going to get a total of like 4 hours of sleep when you're honestly supposed to be getting like 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Based off of when you go to bed, you should be getting 8 hours, but there's what's called fire watch or fire guard. There's one guy. You're in a 40-man bay whenever you are in basic training. It's not like you get your own personal rooms. You're in a 40-man bay, and on each side of the bay there's 20 guys. And at throughout the night, whenever you guys go to sleep, there's always going to be at least one person that's awake for an hour. That's the fire watch, and he's basically just doing inspections on everybody's racks, making sure everybody's in bed, making sure everybody's asleep, not doing anything weird. And it's kind of like a safety precaution as well, because for some odd reason, people get really hostile in basic training, and they'll just kind of like flip out on one another. So I've seen a couple guys in my basic training cycle back in 2017. There were these two guys that had a huge beef with each other, and they had to, like, it was around like midnight. I just heard somebody across the bay, maybe like 10 bunks down, I just heard fighting, just in general, just a bunch of shit being thrown around. I heard somebody getting their ass beat, it sounded like. And sure enough, whenever we turned all the lights on, this one of the guys was beaten kind of badly, and there was a lot of blood everywhere. It was kind of gross. Just overall bad shit was going down. So if there's not somebody like supervising the bay 24 hours, stuff like that's going to happen because people are constantly under high tension, like high stress and basic training because they're away from, you got to think about it, you're away from family and friends for 10 weeks. Like, that is a lot of time for somebody to be away. Most people haven't gone through that in their entire lives. So going through that puts a huge amount of stress on the mindset. And on top of that, you're already going through tons of physical activity a day, doing all these obstacle courses, going to all these shooting ranges. If you're M4, sometimes there's there's frag grenade ranges, so you know how to throw a live frag grenade. Yes, you heard that right. Um, and dude, it's just I think the Firewatch is actually essential to keep 24-hour surveillance on the bay, make sure nobody's like breaking out in fights, making sure nobody's doing nothing weird at night. And the reason why I also said that you're probably going to get like 4 hours of sleep is because there's drill sergeants that come and do inspections on the bay every night. And if you're everybody gets their own individual, usually individual wall locker to put all of your boots, your uniforms, your hygiene stuff in this big locker. And if it's not locked and sealed and nice and tidy every single night, the drill sergeant's going to see that and he's going to freak the fuck out and he's going to wake the entire bay up, make you guys all get out of your bunks, lights on. It doesn't matter if it's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. You're going to get out of your bunk, go total line at the end of your bunks, you're going to be doing push-ups, burpees, air squats, jumping jacks, like you name it. They might be super petty and grab your camelbacks, which is your water sources that you're going to have throughout basic training. They might grab all your camelbacks and just dump all your water out on the floor for you to clean up, or they're going to pour all that cold ass water all over you, which is what happened to me a couple times. So you just got to be wary of that. Just keep your bunks nice and tidy. Just try and not piss the drill sergeants off as much as humanly possible so you're able to get as much sleep as possible because you're going to be super tired every single day. There's not a day in basic training that you're not doing stuff. So it's just a lot. So just be aware of that and just try and stay off the drill sergeant's radar, obviously. But that's like the first couple weeks. The white phase, which is the next couple weeks, is kind of like you're kind of as well. You're probably going to a bunch of M4 ranges, but you're going to more M4 ranges than you were in the first couple weeks. You're doing that. You're doing a lot of, actually more of the land navigation is in this, and then you're also getting a lot of your dress blue uniforms, so like the dress uniforms that we wear in the Army. You're getting sized up for those. You're getting your berets. You're getting just a bunch of other stuff that I can't really think of right now. It was so nice just like looking at this. It was so nice just talking about this video and like just kind of referencing it. Well, hey, Bernie decided to get into the mix. What's up? You want to say something? I wonder if you guys can hear that. Oh, now he's trying to eat the mic. Okay, no. But that's like the middle 2 weeks is just it's just a bunch of like going to ranges, learning how to throw a live frag grenade, and getting fitted for your uniforms and stuff. And then there's also a CBRN chamber, which is, I forgot what CBRN stands for, but it's the basically chemical warfare training that you go through. So you go into this big empty room with something that is in the middle of the room that holds like a gas canister, normally like CS gas. It's kind of like tear gas, and that just um, it's basically your confidence training for your gas masks that you're issued. And you go into this big room, they file you in with your gas masks already on, and then they make you check your seals on the masks, just making sure that you know how to properly break the seal or properly seal the mask. So you obviously want to have it sealed whenever you go into a fight, whenever there's chemical warfare going on. And you get all that checked out. And then once they make sure that all of your gas masks are good, they'll light a can of tear gas in the middle of the room. And then, and then, and then eventually it fills up the entire room. They make sure that your gas masks are working properly. They make sure that your face isn't burning, you're not coughing. And then once they make sure that that's all good, you're gonna they're gonna tell you to take all your masks off. And then you either just stand there and suffer, or sometimes they make some of the guys recite the Soldier's Creed or like the NCO Creed, and that is like a 15-line paragraph that takes anywhere from, like, depending on how fast you say it, like 2 to 3 minutes to recite. And you're gonna be sucking bad because, like, two things are gonna happen. One, you're gonna recite a little bit of it, and then you're just gonna fucking forget the rest of the words because you're focusing on all the snot that's coming down your nose. You're focusing on all the tears that are running down your face that feel like they're lava because it's going to be hot as fuck in there because of all the gas. And then your tears are going to be burning your face because your skin is already irritated from the gas. So that's going to hurt even more. So you're going to be focusing on all this pain while trying to recite this. And you might recite a couple lines, but then you're just going to end up coughing, and then you're going to get smoked. You're going to be told to do push-ups because you failed it. And then scenario two, you're just not going to recite it at all because you're just focusing on the pain. And then you're going to be doing push-ups anyway because you didn't do what the drill sergeant said. So one of those two scenarios is going to happen, and you're just not going to do well. It's meant to suck. I don't really know why, entirely why you have to do all that, why you have to take your mask off. But I think it's kind of just like a rite of passage through basic training. Everybody's got to go through it. So you eventually just get told to do all these dumb things in the gas chamber for like 3 minutes, and then they file you guys all out. And then after like 10 minutes, you're good. All of it's worn off out of your body. But that was kind of like a big culminating event in like the middle of basic training that you have to go through. You have to go through it. You can't. There's no way around that shit. So, and then blue phase, which is the last 2 to 3 weeks, is kind of more chilled out. They know that you guys are more experienced with the drill sergeants. You're addressing them correctly. Being you're getting down to formation on time for first formation. And if you're not doing that right, I mean, they're going to make your life hell. Like if there's somebody, even one guy in your platoon that's not down to first formation on time, like it's normally around 5 a.m. But I had a guy who was consistently late to formation every single day, and first formation was supposed to be at 5 a.m., and it eventually got bumped down to 3:45 a.m. every day because this guy wouldn't show up on time. So we were already getting woken up throughout the night, and on top of that, our sleep was getting cut short because we had to be earlier. We had to be down on the drill pad earlier than the other platoons because of this one weak link. So don't be that guy. Just get up. If you have to get up 30 minutes earlier than everybody else to shave, shower, and just make sure that you're ready for the day, then you got to do that. Because if everybody, you do not want the rest of your platoon hating you, because there's certain events throughout the basic training that you have to go through where you rely heavily on your teammates. And if you guys don't have a strong bond, you're going to be sucking ass. So Just don't be a weak link. Do what you got to do to survive, pretty much. And yeah, so I forgot where I was going with that. Let's see, blue phase. Yep, and you're going to be going through a little bit more ranges and stuff. I think there's actually a lot of obstacle courses that you go through in blue phase as well. There's also what's called the night infiltration course. Um, you guys can look up videos on this. But it's basically this huge course at, it's like this huge kind of like football field length area that's muddy, has a bunch of barbed wire going throughout it, so you have to crawl under the barbed wire, and it's obviously at night, so you already can't see. There's guns firing maybe 20 feet above you the entire time. You're basically, the entire goal is to get over this ledge in this bunker and then army crawl for maybe 100 yards to this certain point. But during that 100 yards, there's a bunch of barbed wire that you're crawling under. There's guns being fired over you. So that's a little bit more extra stress added on top. It's usually muddy. They normally pick a rainy night to do it. So that's even more struggle that you have to go through. And then on top of that, they're screaming at you the entire time. So you got somebody screaming at you. You got guns firing over you. It's raining. You're slipping and sliding through the mud. You're getting caught on all the barbed wire that you're trying to crawl under. Like whenever I went through, there was a bit of barbed wire that I actually got caught on. It wasn't my body, but it was the armor plated vest that I had on. The back of it got caught on the wire, and I just couldn't move. And everybody was screaming at me, "Yo, Vessels, what the hell are you doing? Why are you not moving?" I'm like, "Well, I'm fucking caught on this wire." So I had a knife with me at the time, and I had to literally cut the wire, or else I wasn't gonna move at all. So I cut that, and I just kept crawling and crawling and crawling, and eventually you get to wherever you need to go. But dude, that felt like forever. It probably felt like I was crawling for like an hour, but it was realistically probably like 20 minutes of crawling, which is still pretty rough. So, but the night infiltration course is that it is actually a lot of fun. But when you're going through it and you're already sleep deprived, it's like 1 a.m. whenever you're going through that night infiltration course. So it's just a mix of emotions going through that. But once you get through it, I honestly felt like I kind of wanted to go through it again after I got done with it, because it was actually a lot of fun. But when you're going through it, it doesn't feel like it. So, but I think I relatively covered everything in the last phase of basic training. So I guess like the next and last thing I have to talk about is graduation day. But right before graduation day, there is a, if unless they changed it, there's like a 40-mile ruck march that you have to go through. You have to complete that in like 3 days. And I think that was only a couple days before graduation day. So, but that is also your last culminating event that you have to pass. So you have to get through all the ruck marches. You have to get through all the events that are far and in between that ruck march. There's like different obstacle courses. There's different ranges that you got to get through during that ruck march. And if you don't pass everything in that, you're probably going to get recycled, or you're going to get put in with the next basic training cycle that is doing that specific event. So you got to pass that as well. You got to pass that super long ruck march. I had some blood, sweat, and tears in the last 10 miles of that ruck march. I think it was, I don't know if I got like this like stress fracture in my right heel, but it was probably like the last like 3 miles of it. I started getting like a very sharp pain in the back of my heel, and I was limping pretty damn bad. But I wasn't about to give up after doing all of that for the last like 9 weeks. I just limped my way to the finish line, and they don't really care how fast you get it all done. They just care about whether or not you pass the finish line or not. So, I mean, running, jogging, walking, crawling, as long as you pass that finish line, you're golden. You pass. So, But that is the last major event that you have to go through before graduation day. Graduation day is pretty awesome. They huddle all the platoons and companies behind this big tree line that's right next to kind of like a football field type deal, and they tell you that across this football field is your family and friends. So like everybody's got huge smiles on their faces. There's really no stress in it. They just tell you, hey, wait for, I think like the smoke bombs. They tell you to just wait for these smoke bombs to go off, and we're like, okay. And then after the smoke bombs go off, you guys are gonna run through the smoke, and then you're eventually gonna slow down, and you're gonna start marching to your family and friends. I'm like, okay, that's badass. So there's normally a song that they have playing, kind of like a badass song, just as you guys are like marching through this smoke, like valiantly, just looking kind of badass in general. They have this music on top of it, which is pretty damn cool. So for us, I think it was Hell's Bells by AC/DC. They started playing over these really loud intercom speakers type deal, and that started playing. We started marching through the smoke, and sure enough, through the smoke, we see all of our family and friends in these bleachers that are maybe like a quarter mile in front of us. And oh my god, dude, there's so many emotions that you feel on that day. There's nothing like it. After going through these last 10 weeks, sleep deprived every day, dude, it's just there's not a better feeling. So you eventually get into formation, and there's a few commanders and sergeant majors that like to speak. And then once those speeches are done, you normally get you normally fall out of formation, and you're able to go and see your family and friends. And then after that, you're on your way to your advanced individual training, because you just completed basic training. So now, before you start your job, you have to learn your job. And based off of wherever your job is, you could be all the way in Texas, you could be somewhere in like Idaho. There's a million different jobs in the Army, and they're all in different locations in the United States. So mine was in at Fort Gordon, Georgia. So Augusta, Georgia is where mine was. And after you complete that, then you get assigned a duty station, and those could be all over the world. My first duty station was Germany, so that's where I ended up going. But that's a conversation for another time. I'm gonna wrap this up. That was a recap on the rest of basic training. I wish I had a visual representation for you guys, but until I find a consistent way of uploading a like not corrupted file of a screen recording for these videos I'm trying to react to, the reaction videos might be put on a pause. So I'm going to try and figure out some stuff with that, and see if we can get that ball rolling again, because it looked like on my last video we got a lot of views. It looked like, and I even got a few comments. So I obviously hit your guys' algorithms pretty damn well with that video. And I think that's what this channel is going to be about a lot. But I got to find a consistent way of uploading those to where it's not a corrupted file. But yeah, I guess that's a wrap on that video. I appreciate you guys for tuning in so damn much. I know this was a long, kind of like PowerPoint style video, but I try to make it as interesting as possible for you guys. And yeah, so I will catch you guys in the next one. And peace. Much love and peace. See ya.